Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Today our topic is bonds. Normally elements don't have bonds, but they tend to complete their outermost shell, so they form bonds. So today we are going to understand the ionic bond and why elements tend to form bonds. Yes, young man, please read it.
The tendency of atoms to acquire 8 electrons in their valence shell is called the octet rule.
Okay, now most of the elements try to complete their shell by completing the 8 electrons in the outer shell. Outer shell is also known as valence shell. The outermost shell sometimes have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or even 8 electrons. The elements which have 8 electrons are known as inert or noble gases. They does not react. But the other elements react to complete their outermost shell. This rule is known as octet rule. Okay, next.
Helium has 2 electrons in its valence shell and is also chemically inert. Some elements that are close to helium on the periodic table tend to achieve 2 electron configuration in their valence shell. For example, hydrogen, lithium, and beryllium, etc., tend to achieve 2 electron configuration in the valence shell. The tendency of some atoms to acquire 2 electron configuration in their valence shell is called diplet rule.
Okay, duplet rule is for few of the elements like hydrogen, lithium, helium, and beryllium. They try to lose or gain electrons in such a way to complete 2 electrons in the first orbit. As you remember, the number 288. Now 288 basically means the number of electrons in first orbit 2, in second orbit 8, and in third orbit 8. Here these elements tend to lose electron or gain electron to complete 2 electrons in the first orbit. Okay, next.
Atoms combine to form substances. Forces of attraction hold atoms together in substances, are called chemical bonds. Atoms other than noble gases have a tendency to react with other elements. These elements are reactive because they tend to gain stability by losing or gaining electrons. When atoms gain or lose electrons, they acquire the configuration of next noble gas element.
Now, some elements tend to gain electrons and some elements tend to lose electrons. You have to understand this in the periodic table. Now, in the periodic table, you can see that group number 1, 2, and 3. These 3 groups tend to lose electrons, and group number 5, 6, and 7 tend to gain electron. By losing electron, these 3 groups form +1, +2, and +3 charges. On the other hand, group number 5, 6, and 7, because they are gaining electron, they will have negative charge on them. Group number 7 will gain 1 electron. It will have -1 charge on it. Group number 2 normally have -2 because they will gain 2 electrons. And group number 3 will have -3 charge because they are gaining 3 electrons. Group number 4 sometimes lose, sometimes gain, and sometimes share electron, which we will complete or study in the next chapter. Yes.
There are 2 types of bonds: ionic bonds, covalent bonds. Ionic bonds are formed between 2 atoms when one atom loses electron to form cation and the other atom gains this electron to form anion.
So the atom which is gaining electron is known as cations or anions. Gain is anion, and loss, the elements which are losing electron are known as cations. Okay. Now we have to understand. Let us see the formation of sodium chloride and magnesium chloride. Now, sodium. has 11 electrons and chlorine has 17 electrons. Their electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 1, 2, 8 and 7. Now, because sodium have one electron to lose, which is rather easy, if it gains 7 electrons, it is very difficult. On the other hand, chlorine, it can have the electronic configuration of 8 by losing 7 electrons or gaining 1 electron. Obviously, losing 7 electron is difficult and gaining 1 electron is easy. So what happens that sodium donates the electron to chlorine. Now, by virtue of this, what happens that sodium will have electronic configuration of 2, 8 and chlorine will have electronic configuration of 2, 8 and 8. Now, sodium is losing 1 electron, so it will be positively charged. Chlorine will gain 1 electron because the electron is negatively charged, it will have -1 charge. Now this plus and minus are oppositely charges, cation and anion. They will attract each other and a bond will be formed between them. This bond is known as ionic bond. Okay? Now, what we have to understand is that if magnesium forms, what happens? Magnesium with electronic configuration of 282 and chlorine with 287. Now magnesium have to lose 2 electrons. Chlorine can only gain 1 electron. So what happens that it will lose 1 electron to this chlorine and the other to another chlorine with the same 287 electronic configuration. So the formula of this will be MgCl2. Hope that you have understood it. Stop.